What's up, Michaela? It's good, sister.
Hello, I'm
Hey,
doing good.
how you been? Yeah, that's great. That's
How
great.
are you?
I'm well. It's a reflex to ask how you doing though. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
it has been. It has been. I haven't been on live a lot because school's been crazy.
Oh yeah. What school you in? Well, don't tell me what school you're in. How far along are you though? Are you
I
junior, sophomore?
have to start all over. I was in school till I
Mm.
was a junior, but none of my credits transferred, so I'm a freshman again.
Oh
So,
wow.
yeah.
Well, good on you, man. I wish you the best in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know that we disagree when it comes to the third topic every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand the perspective you're coming from. It's just we have to acknowledge the misogyny that's in the black community as well.
Mm.
That's why I am
Why is
upset.
there misogyny in the black community?
I mean,
Was
white
there
supremacy.
misogyny in the black community pre-colonization?
It was not, but now it is though.
Misogynoir, yeah, specifically. But yeah. Um, so if I have a kid that's really smart and reading books, right? And then I turn
Mhm.
on the TV and then they immediately no longer want to read books, they just want to drink Kool-Aid and play video games. I can tell then that there has been a control to my experiment, a variable that changed the behavior of my, a catalyst. I'm trying to use scientific terms. So there's been a
Mhm.
catalyst, there's been something that changed the behavior of my subject. So do I place the blame on the child or do I say, hey, you know what? This wasn't going on before I turned the TV on. Maybe the problem isn't the person, it's the TV. But who turned the TV on? You know? That's the question.
And I understand that, but we also have to eventually okay, we can acknowledge that indoctrination happens, right? We can acknowledge
Hmm.
organization and the effects on us, but we also should take accountability as well. There are many black men in the community that understand that men and women are equal. And then there are also a lot that doesn't. And
There's more that
they
don't
could
than any
do
other
that, but
community.
they're choosing not to because they benefit from that.
But for the most part, compared to other men, we have been the most feminist or womanist men of all the men. We've, as black men, I feel like the reason I say feminism is not a black issue is because it's more of an issue in a lot of other communities than it is with us. We've worshipped black women as gods. We still say queen and goddess today, which is a tradition that goes back thousands of years in our history. Once you know who black people truly are and you turn off, I don't know, the BET awards, you start to look at the diaspora, not just here in America, but who we are. You start to see, we're not how we're portrayed. Thank you, sister.
And I understand that, brother, but you have to see
Hmm.
seeing what's going on when it came to the brick and that
Just made a video about
woman.
that.
Oh yeah, I didn't see the video, but
Uh,
it's just
mhm.
it's not that whole instance in
Yeah,
particular. I just made me very upset, but it made me even more
yeah,
upset like the online response
me
and
too.
seeing so many black men justifying the abuse against a black woman,
Mm.
similarly to Megan Thee Stallion when it happened to her. So like I just have to acknowledge that within our
That's
community. I
funny. I brought
understand
up
it's a
Megan. I brought up
you
Megan too in
did.
my video. Yeah.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
understand it's not, we're definitely not the worst. White men are definitely the ones that perpetuated the most, but we still have
Uh,
to acknowledge it.
Arab men do a pretty good job as well.
Well,
Asian
that's
men
also true.
goes on. Yeah. But
Yes, yeah.
mhm.
but even so, we still have to acknowledge it in like the Black community as well, because traditionalism, red pill, all of this is also
But
in our community as well.
here's my problem, right? Even the thing with the brick, right?
Yeah.
We're heading into an election year. You know that, right?
Right.
Steve Bannon said that their next target would be black men, that the Republican Party would be able to convert 50% of black men to vote Republican.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened yet. It's actually pretty far off from happening. They would need to win like 35% of us. But things like this that divide us, it's like, why aren't we all coming together in support of the sister that was mistreated and didn't deserve anywhere near how she was treated that night? Why can't we come together and empower her, support her? Instead, it became black men versus black women.
It's
And
not
that's what they
about
want.
that. I don't think it's okay. A
But
part of it. Oh,
I
sorry.
wanted to say one more thing.
Hmm.
Do you judge water? Um, do you judge water by how much Kool-Aid is in it? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's water and then there's Kool-Aid. You can't judge water by how much Kool-Aid is in it, because if there's a little bit of Kool-Aid in the water, it is Kool-Aid. It's not water. It's just not sweet. You know, it might not be the reddest Kool-Aid, but it's Kool-Aid. It's not water. So when you're talking
Hmm.
about black people and you start to say that we need to hold anti-black sentiment accountable for black people, then I would just say, well, I'm sorry, not just black people, but pro-black black people. When we're talking about, and my thing is pro-blackness. So, when you start judging pro-blackness by anti-blackness, it's kind of like, well, duh. We're not talking about Kool-Aid. We're talking about water. Water has just water in it. So if it has anything other than water in it, then you're talking about other non-pro-black people. You're talking about people with anti-blackness. You're not talking about what we're talking about. And so there's many ways anti-blackness manifests: misogyny, homophobia, um, you know, there are a lot of different ways. I go down the list, but ableism, such and so on. But you know,
I get what you're saying, but I just like our response to the misogyny, right? That we face is feminism. Like, would you say that
no,
LGBTQ plus pride isn't pro black?
I would say no, not well. I would say no. Mm-mm. I would say that pride, I guess, in who you love, if it's black love, is pro-black, but pro-black don't have nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we keep trying to join movements because we look at things through, and that's the issue that I have with feminism, is it judges morality through a Western lens. And then we're talking about pro-blackness, which is through an Afrocentric lens and not a Eurocentric lens. And then people are still trying to use their Eurocentric value system in Afrocentrism. The two don't work together. What is good for you is going to be seen as evil for your oppressor. What is natural to you is going to be unnatural to them. And some of us don't know what's natural to us as people because we don't study enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, what do you know about African history?
Not enough. I don't
I
know
can
enough.
tell, and I didn't want to say that, but I can
Hmm.
tell because the more that you would know, you would understand there's always been LGBT, gender fluid people in our history, but there's never been a flag for it. It was never something we had to be proud about. We separated ourselves in Africa. There was a lot of diversity in Africa, but it was through your tribe. Anything
Hmm.
else that you did was up to you. All African hairstyles are unisex. Did you notice that? Braids, locks, afros, all unisex. Why is that? Because in Africa, we didn't have pronouns. It was just, you're part of the tribe, you're part of that tribe, I'm part of this tribe. We do trade or we do war, but even the war was like with honor. Like, it wasn't chattel slavery bad, but, we might
Hmm.
enslave y'all, but you're still going to smell nice, be able to own land and have children. Like, you know, but here we are looking at problems that Europeans created for themselves and applying those solutions to our community where we already had the solutions before we came here. We already had written laws that said you must respect women. We already had written laws saying all women were equal, if not superior to men, written down in ink before the U.S. Constitution, before the Magna Carta, before all of that. We had all of these rules set in stone. Even slaves had rights. And so now we're looking at we're part of a Western society where they have these problems, and we're trying to apply their solutions to their problems to our people. When our people don't suffer from these problems, our people are suffering as a result of these problems. Our people have internalized their problems and their morality.
But it is my problem though. It is my active environment. It's the thing that I experience. It's the thing that's making it harder for me to get a job. It's harder for me to be
Get a
safe
job
in
where? At a
public.
black man's business?
I understand, but this is the thing though,
It's
brother.
if
Not
we could
every black
focus
man is
on
pro-black. You said
if
it
but
yourself. Not
no,
every black man is pro-black. So,
exactly.
so
But
if I do go to that company, maybe he's not pro-black and he is misogynistic. Why can I not acknowledge that and say
I didn't say you couldn't
feminism
acknowledge it.
matters?
I say
I'm
you
just, you
step
see what
up
I'm
to
saying?
that brother and you let him know you are a real COON. And I see you. You see what I'm saying? You are off code, brother. You understand? Like that's not moving in alignment with our people. That person's just as lost as anyone that's coming up here talking about Western morality and how it applies to our people. And that's what I'm saying.
But
A lot of people are lost. The more you know about African history, the more you start to just see
and
it's
I
so many
understand
people.
I understand the communities that we used to have and how healthy they were, but that's not what it is now. Like it's
But
not the
why
state
isn't
we're
it
in
that
now.
way now?
I understand it's because of white supremacy
Then
and
focus on that and stop focusing on the little peas. You're focusing on the peas, but you're missing the steak. And
but
that's
it's
what I'm
not
trying to say. The
little.
steak is on the plate. I mean, the peas are on the plate because of the
Hmm.
steak. The steak is the meal. The peas are the garnishing. Why are we focusing on the garnishing within our own community? That is anti-black. Because
But
you're instead
but
of focusing on the source of the problem, it's much easier to attack black men. It's much easier for black men to attack black women than to look at the source of our problem.
okay, but this is the thing though, brother. I think I would counteract that, right? And say what you're saying is actually what's anti-black because you're minimizing what women face in the community.
I
You are
haven't.
saying as if it's a small garnish compared to white supremacy, and it is not. It is huge. It succumbs our life. People really think that we are just incubators, that we just exist to please men, and they harm us because of that. It's an extremely big thing. It is not small.
I didn't say it was small. I'm saying the cause of that misogyny that you're talking about is white supremacy.
I
I'm not
understand.
saying it's small, but I'm saying, are we trying to kill the monster or are we trying to clip his toenails? I'm saying it's still part of the monster. The monster is very big, and the monster has seeped its way into our community. But let's cut the head off the beast and stop focusing on the small parts that are part of the still the bigger problem. Because at the end of the day, if we all cut the head off the monster, sexism loses its power. misogyny will probably still exist. Misogyny, it hasn't gone anywhere since probably the beginning of time. There was even misogyny to some degree in Africa, but those brothers would be snipped or sent out of the village. That's probably how Europeans came about. But anyway, yeah, like sexism loses its power. You know, sexism is a system of practice. That's an actual form of domination, right? So sexism loses its power, or patriarchy. Homophobia, which still the main problem there is patriarchy. But see, the problem is we don't live in a patriarchy, do we? We live in a white T patriarchy. We always talk about intersection when it comes to the oppressed, but forget the intersection of the oppressor. We don't live in a society where black women suffer from patriarchy less than black men. We live in a society where black women suffer from patriarchy in a different way than black men. We're both seen as not part of our gender, to put it nicely. Black women are masculinized, black men are feminized. They call me a boy, and they call you anything but a woman. They don't even recognize our sisters as women in the medical field. So they don't see us as our genders first, and they don't see us as how we identify sexually first, or our preference first. They see us as black. And that's because we don't live in a patriarchy. If we lived in a true patriarchy, then black men wouldn't be the most unemployed demographic in our community. We're less employed than our women. We're less educated than our women. We're more incarcerated than anyone else, and we're unalived more than anyone else. But yet we're going to say this is a patriarchy? No, no, no. YT patriarchy sees brothers as a threat and has systemically sought fit to make sure that they are disenfranchised and marginalized.
So you don't believe black men benefit from patriarchy?
No.
At all?
There are times when one brother might be privileged enough that the patriarchy recognizes him and recognizes his manhood. For example, a Kanye West type guy. But would you say the community of black men benefit from a turncoat? Would you say a gang benefits from a snitch? You see what I'm saying? You're judging Kool-Aid. You're judging water by how much Kool-Aid is in it. And I'm trying to tell you, when you're talking about black men, for example, there are black men and black women that benefit from patriarchy. If you want to look at it, Candace Owens benefits. You see what I'm saying? Candace Owens benefits from white supremacy.
That's coonery. That's not patriarchy.
That's what I'm saying. And see, when you're talking about black men that benefit from patriarchy, I'm saying the same thing, coonery. I'm saying the exact same. That is coonery.
But
coonery doesn't benefit us. We can just assimilate into it and act as an agent on behalf of our oppressor.
But just like within the household, right? And like what women have to go through within the household and dealing with black men as well, due to the patriarchy and the model they want to set, I think that they do benefit it. Like, obviously not benefit as much as white men, but it's still to an extent because you are a man.
To what extent?
You don't have to worry about your bodily autonomy, right?
But
you don't have to worry about it when it comes to.
But I do have to worry
your bodily resources in that way that women have to.
I do have to worry about my bodily autonomy, but just in a different way. I just said how black men, 1 in 5 of me, are locked behind prison bars right now. You think they have bodily autonomy?
I understand that.
Black women get arrested at the same rates as white men. Do you know that?
Black women get
look it up. Look it up.
Black women get arrested at the same rate as white men.
As white men, yes. Now, white women get arrested even less than that. But so compared to the women, black women are at the bottom. But because they're at the bottom of the women, they're at the top of the men. Black men are at the bottom of everybody. The brown to everybody. We at the bottom of everything. One
I
in
under-
five of me are locked behind bars. Do you think we have bodily autonomy? We have
okay, I
systemically
understand
not
we
had
have
bodily autonomy for 400
but
years.
we are forced with labor in that way, but that's not the same aspect as what I'm talking about, brother. And you know that when it comes to forced pregnancy.
Well, why did they take away abortion rights? For you or for white women that did it the most? Do you think
I
the Republicans
understand,
care
but it
about you
affects.
having a baby?
Okay, but it's still affecting me.
That's what I'm saying. But that's why we should all focus on white supremacy. Because white
But
supremacists, Republicans, are the reason for that. Once again, it all goes back.
I understand that, brother. But
Everything you're saying, like I'm telling you, I've done this work. I'm telling you, like you haven't said nothing new to me. That's why I'm not up here stuttering, because I've thought all of these thoughts. I've thought them over and over and over again. Like there's something I've been working on for well over a decade, and every time I look, I'm just like, wow, the problem is white supremacy. Then I read about my history and I learned, wow, we already have the answers. We just too afraid to leave the plantation and go back to the ways we were. We have been brainwashed and forgot the answers here in America specifically.
but we have family here, though, brother. We
I
have
didn't say we had to
people.
leave physically.
I understand.
Marcus Garvey said free your mind and your body will follow.
Okay, why shouldn't I care about YT women not being able to have reproductive rights? Even if we solved it, right? Even if we had our own communities, why should I not care? I just shouldn't care.
That's deep. That's deep. You see, now we're getting to the core of all of this. You see what I'm saying?
The
See what
core
I'm
of
saying?
what?
You just said, why should I not care
Why
about
should I
frosted
not? Because
females?
it's not even just them, right? It's
Oh
any
no.
other woman that's not black. It's not even just.
No.
Oh god, bro.
Sis, no. You're going to the dark side.
How am I in the dark side? I understand our community needs help. I understand that, but
Girl, we don't care about them. Don't you start. You listen, back in the day, Malcolm X talks about this. Back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
There'd be an enslaved ancestor. Don't ever call them slaves. They weren't slaves. Their freedom just wasn't recognized by certain people. But you can't own people. You see what I'm saying? You can only think you own people. Anyway, there'd be an enslaved ancestor, and he would be Massa's favorite ancestor. And when Massa hadn't eaten all day, he would come up to him and say, "Massa, we hungry. Are we hungry, Massa?" Massa's house be on fire. He said, "My goodness, Massa, our house is on fire." He would always talk in terms of we, because he had so much internalized the needs of his master that he saw himself as the same as his oppressor. So when you're talking about why shouldn't I care about what happens in a community that has oppressed you, denied you access to even feminism as a political movement, that's something I know you don't want to go toe to toe with me on, because there's statistical, like just historical, empirical data to show that feminism has sought to black women. Like, oh, go over there. That has happened. That's historical.
Okay, but that's not modern
But what
feminism.
either way,
Okay.
to sit up here and say the people that would own you as property is someone you should be concerned with trying to figure out how to liberate is wild.
It's not
Because
okay,
they didn't care about liberation until you stopped working for free. They did not care. Where was you telling me for thousands of years, going back to the Middle Ages, white women could not own jobs. I mean, could not have jobs, could not own property, could not pass anything down, had to get the last name of the men in the house. They couldn't even leave the house. They couldn't even be alone in a room with a man. Going back to the Middle Ages, even before that. But I'm going to start at the Middle Ages because that's when it really got bad. Going all the way back then, you tell me they didn't think of having a feminist movement until about 200 years ago. Why is that? About 150 years ago, actually. Only once you stop taking care of their children, you stop feeding their family, and you stop cleaning out their menstrual rags, did they say, you know what? We want to be like the men too.
Brother, it's not okay. I am not okay. This is what I'm saying. I just want no one to have the power to oppress anyone again. That is what I want, regardless of who it benefits. I don't want people to have the power to oppress people and put them through years and generations of trauma. I don't want anybody to have the power to do that, right? And it's not me just saying like, oh, I need to save white people. Like, obviously they got it themselves, right? I'm not saying that. But there are other communities that were harmed outside of the Black community. We can agree to that, no?
Other communities that have also harmed the Black community.
I
Actively
understand,
participated.
I just want what right is. I just want what's right.
You
it's
know,
not
when
about if they cared. It's about me caring.
But see, your version of what's right comes from Abrahamic religion and a sense of, but I'll get into that another time. When you're talking about liberation, I think it's best like a oxygen mask on an airplane. They tell you before you help, even if you're next to your child, before you help someone next to you, put that mask on yourself first. Put it on yourself, then you can help other people. Right now, Black people, our community, our diaspora has a lot more work to do before we can turn around and start helping those that did this damage to us in the first place.
I understand what you're saying. I understand it. It's just I don't understand how to do it in a way. I just want the right thing to happen. I don't it's not about
Know your history, sister.
I know that
The
okay.
answers are right there looking at you in the face. And you're like, I don't want to learn African history, but I know all about European white people and what
That
they.
is not
Yes, you do. You
No,
do. You're sitting up here talking
I
about
didn't say I don't
feminism.
know
You know all about their
anything. I didn't say I don't
ideologies.
know anything. I just said I don't know enough.
You
I didn't say
don't.
I don't
But
know
that's what I'm
anything.
saying. But the answer, if you knew enough, the answer is right in front of you. The answer to feminism, the answer to homophobia, all of that other stuff. That's the reason I can come up here confidently as a pro-black black man and defend my brothers and sisters that love a different way than me, that identify a different way than me, and love, and non-binary. Everybody, I can love everybody black because I understand that they were seen in our history, and now we just in a different history, and we're being taught different history. We're being taught different ideologies and different boxes that we're being put into. And I'm like, oh, wow. So that's what's going on. When you know what's going on, then everything kind of becomes sad and you don't feel so, I wish I could be more, self-righteous, but everything gets really sad, to be honest, the more you know about your history.
It is sad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the current environment, how can we make it better? That's all that I'm saying. The current environment that we are in.
How can we make white people be better? How can we convince the white man to free us? Is that what you're saying? Because we're talking about patriarchy, right? Who is that?
No,
who is the king that dictates whether or not patriarchy stops? Right?
Okay, no, it's not about.
Who do we need to convince
to free us? It's about trying to take away the power in itself.
How are we going to do that? How are we going to do that?
How we're going to.
You can't do it. You can't do it. White women can't do it. Only white men can do it. But we sitting here at the bottom of the totem pole arguing about how we going to fix him. And I'm trying to say, we don't need to fix him. We need to leave him alone. Focus on returning back to what they stole from us. Because if you had the knowledge that they stole from us, you wouldn't even want to fight for them.
I understand the amount that they stole from us. I truly understand that. I'm just saying the environment that we're in now, how can we fit, like we can't just ignore it.
It's one thing that's going to fix all of this. It's not about ignoring it. You're not going to fix it. What do you mean ignore it? How you going to fix it? You going to fix white supremacy right now?
I'm not saying it right now, but it's activism to try to make at least every
You
day a little
cannot
better.
fix something you did not create. You cannot fix it. And you're
It can just
wasting your
never be
energy
fixed.
scratching at a brick wall to try to get through it. It's like,
So we just lose all hope.
no, there
Okay.
is hope. It's just you're facing a brick wall, and I'm trying to get you to turn around and look at the green pastures. But you want to scratch at their brick wall. It's not, someone said in the comments, that's not your problem. It's not your, you can't fix that. You can't. But there is an answer. We already had the answer for 300,000 years. We just need to go back to the answer and say, you know what? Y'all got that problem? Y'all go ahead and bash your head against the brick wall. Let's go over here to Africa. Let's empower ourselves. The one thing that solves our community problem is going to hurt their community. Those brick walls are going to come tumbling down when we fix up our brick walls. But, that would be, I don't know if you're going to believe it hearing it from me now, but look at what's happening in Africa. Africa's going through a revolution right now. There's literally a revolution in Africa right now. They're calling them coups, but the PLO Lumumba, who's a prolific Pan-African professor from Kenya, has officially announced it is a revolution. There's a big kicking Europeans out of Africa movement going on right now. And when it is successful, we're going to see a difference in how we're treated here in America and abroad as black people. And then you're going to see that, once you are lifted up in our societies by our people and protected by our militaries and our police officers, and you have money from our banks, you're not going to really, I think you're going to understand that this is their problem. It's just, sadly, they keep making their problem all of our problem.
Okay. Okay.
All right, we'll see.
Well,
We'll
yes.
see. You're going to come back up here in a few months. I know it. But I got mad love for you, sis, because, I'll be watching your lives too. You do some amazing work. I ain't mad at you. You definitely know how to, you're the bunny whisperer. You know what I'm saying? You be up there unpacking that Hellman's like it's nothing. I'll be like, man, all right, I don't know how you do it. I can't talk to them that much, but you be up there. Shoot.
I appreciate it, and you're
All right.
doing great work here, and thank you for making me think about all of this and for the
Absolutely.
education.
All right, sis. One
All right.
love. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? See, that's how we have a respectful discussion. You know what I'm saying? That's how we have a respectful discussion. What's good, sister? You know what I'm saying? Right. A healthy debate. We didn't, you know what I'm saying? Check out my latest video, y'all. I posted a video, man. Check out my latest video. I'm talking about the brick situation with the sister. But I try to talk with nuance, man. I really try to talk with nuance. The more you know about African history, the more you see that a lot of these forms of oppression that we're talking about is not our problem. It's problems that were imposed upon us because we didn't choose to come here. Some of us forget that. We did not choose to come here. So this problem was put on us. And then now we have been brainwashed. We have forgotten our history, forgot our customs, forgot how we treat women, forgot how, gender fluid we were. And like I said about the hair, all African hairstyles are unisex. Like We forgot about all of this and then took on patriarchy and misogyny in our community, homophobia, all of these things. All of these things come from white teen men. And it's time for us, some of us at least, to start returning back, man. Re-Africanize. You cannot view Afrocentrism. You cannot judge Afrocentrism through a Western moral lens. You can't. It's going to tear you up every time. You can't do it. You're going to look at it and you're going to look at Afrocentrism and you're going to be like, nope, this is wrong. Nope, this is evil. Nope, my God don't do this. Nope. Go to a museum. I encourage y'all, go to a museum or maybe a Pan-African like shop. Like I have a Pan-African store where I'm at. Go to somewhere that has African sculptures and statues, and like even if they have some masks, you know what I'm saying? Go somewhere where there's African cultural art and take in the vibe of the ancestors real quick so you can feel it. Feel how sexually free they were. Because when you look at them African statues, they doing all kind of, you know what I'm saying? Them ancestors was getting it on because the sisters be voluptuous. You know what I'm saying? Yo, listen, they was not ashamed. They wasn't ashamed. Who put that shame in you? Who put that shame in you? That's why I can't be mad at Sexy Red and Sukihana. You know what I'm saying? I know that the devil is using them. You know what I'm saying? By the devil, I mean the man. You know what I'm saying? I know that they use them as a propaganda tool, and that's why their music is pumped out the way it does. But I ain't mad at them sisters. We ain't have all this sexual shame. We ain't have all that sexual shame where we from. That's weird. We human. That's how we all got here. When did that become a no-no? You know what I'm saying? They needed to be a no-no because they need to tell their women, no, you stay with us. We got to control your vagina because if we don't, you're going to have little black babies and that's going to be a problem. So they had to create patriarchy. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing breaks all of this down, why these systems exist. You know, they had to do that. They could only procreate with themselves. They have to control their women. They were afraid after they came to our places and R-worded our women. And so that taught them that they can only make themselves with themselves. That's their number one fear. It's the fear in all of their mind. When I first came up here, somebody said, I'm black from the waist down. If you're a white teen man, what in the world are you thinking about my black waist down for? Like, why are you thinking about what's down there, bro? That's kind of sus. You see what I'm saying? For some reason, white teen men got black ding dong on their mind like 24/7. I swear to God. That's all they think about. I swear to God, that's all they think about. It's really weird. It's really weird. I be on Twitter a lot. I be like, yo, why are y'all making these jokes about black men? Like, y'all all right? Like, why y'all thinking about that? It's kind of, it's sus, man. You know what I'm saying? Not saying there's anything wrong with, they want to feel that way, go ahead, but why black people? Like, but anyway. Hey, what's good, Hoodoo? Yeah, man, some of y'all got to go around some of them sculptures made by the ancestors and learn you some, man. You'll see how gender fluid and sexually free the ancestors was. You know what I'm saying? We had statues where the top half was a woman, bottom half was a man, or the bottom half was a woman, the face was a man. And like we had statues of all different kind of stuff. Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't know about African history. All of these type of phobias and isms, man, all of that stuff was taught to us by our oppressor, and we've internalized it because we've had nothing else to internalize. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it definitely was real. It definitely was real. I got a video. I'm gonna go back to that store, and I'm gonna make a video of the statues there so I can show some of y'all. They got the women with the baby and the baby's feeding on her, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. They was free. You know what I'm saying? Then they got in Europe they had statues of men and women with the leaf over them, to hide their nakedness. Like Europe is weird. And then when it isn't the leaf over them, I don't know if y'all notice, but David's thing is real little. And the reason for that is because it was bigger at one time, and the church said it was too much. They had to chisel it down. So that's why when you see a lot of those statues, they're little, pinkies. What's up with that shame, y'all? You see what I'm saying? It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. We didn't give a damn. I'm telling you.